What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Wayne Simmonds and whether or not he would be a fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, before you guys get all up in arms, especially if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan or if you don't like, trade rumors and stuff like that, just understand where I'm coming from in this video. I'm going to give it from both sides. I know you see Leaf jerseys behind me. I am a Leafs fan, but I'm not one of those fans that just, overvalues my team's assets and, undervalues another team's assets. I'm not sitting here making this stuff up. This has been talked about for a little bit now, and the Philadelphia Flyers are in a bit of a tough spot right now. Although the season still has a lot to go, there have been some rumors about this team. So please, if you're new to this, or if you are just a regular person who watches the videos and stuff like that, just wait till the end of the video. We're going to talk about this from both sides, for both teams, the pros and cons, and we're going to make this a fair video. I'm not just going to make a bunch of hypothetical trades that would happen. We're going to actually have a discussion about this, and I hope that you would leave your comments down below. Be friendly with the other people in the comments. Sometimes when there's videos like this, people get way too crazy, and I end up deleting comments of people who are making some harsh comments towards other people. So this is just supposed to be a fun discussion video, and that's all it's going to be. So let's just first talk about what Wayne Simmonds brings to the Philadelphia Flyers. First of all, he's been there for a really long time. He's a great player. From everything we've heard, he's a great leader. But I don't think his play has dropped off a little bit, but he's not really performing the same way. He's had some injury trouble. And through 28 games this year, he has 10 goals and 4 assists for 14 points. He's a -7, and the Philadelphia Flyers, currently when I'm recording this, are 7th in the Metro Division. Now, this is December 12th. I've been trying to do a trade rumors type of video every single day, and that's what I'm going to continue to do if there's actually stuff to talk about. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because David Amber, I believe that's who it was on Sportsnet this morning talking about how this would be a good fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Why would this be a good fit? Because of the things that I just mentioned about Wayne Simmonds. But here's some other added value for him. He's a physical presence, and he also can put up points. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been looking for a guy who actually can have some, physical ability while also being able to fill the score sheet. You can't rely on guys like Nazem Kadri, like he mentioned, and, guys like Hyman to be guys that drop the gloves every once in a while. Yeah, maybe Kadri, but you don't really want Zach Hyman being the guy that does that. Wayne Simmonds has no issue with knocking somebody over and then having to get into a fight if he has to, whatever, and still be able to, put up points. He makes a lot of people pissed off. Let's just be real here. And he's a good player. So obviously any team would be interested in a guy like that, especially at his cap hit. So currently he's being paid just under $4 million. And here's the key part of this. He's an unrestricted free agent after this season. A lot of people are like, well, the Flyers could probably hold on to him. Yeah, you're probably right. But before Ron Hextall was fired, they were apparently far apart on numbers, and now Philly's going to have to deal with this. Unless the new regime that comes in, whatever, if they're totally fine with giving Simmonds what he wants, that's great. Then that's over with. I'm not sitting here saying he has to come to Toronto. I want Wayne Simmonds to play wherever he feels comfortable and wherever he does his thing. I'm a fan of the player. I'm a fan of Wayne Simmonds. But, apparently they were far apart on a deal. He wanted 6 years, and I don't think the Flyers were willing to give him that. Currently, he is 30 years old. I don't know if Philly wants to give him like a 3 or 4 year deal and just, give him maybe the money he wants or a little bit less, because I think Philly does have some money to play with, and the cap is supposed to go up by $3 million or so next season. So the Flyers could realistically sign him, but Philadelphia is a good team. You still have a lot of good pieces. James Van Riemsdyk hasn't really been fully healthy, so once he gets going, the team is very good. They have good blue line pieces that need to get signed too, but they have a lot of good guys. Provorov, they've got Gostisbehere, Voracek, Giroux, and Van Riemsdyk. They've got to figure out that goaltending problem and add some little pieces here and there, but with the money they have next offseason, they might be able to work some stuff out and add to that team. So Philly realistically doesn't have to get rid of Wayne Simmonds, and that's what I was trying to tell you guys. I want to look at this at both sides. But from everything we've heard, if Philly really wants to pick up some pieces really for next season, who knows, maybe Simmonds comes back and signs in Philly as a free agent. So Philly could really take advantage of the fact that they have a very valuable piece, well, valuable at least, that can be dealt for something to get back, so at least they're getting something instead of losing him for nothing. because we don't know if Simmonds is considering just leaving Philadelphia altogether, and that's another thing you have to keep in mind. Sometimes when you're a team that's not doing so hot, and we've seen it all the time, you have to let go of players that have been with your franchise for a long time. And it hurts. It hurts the fans. It hurts the player. It hurts everybody. But you have to get pieces back for somebody on an expiring deal. And that's something that the Philadelphia Flyers may have to do here. And that's why, of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs have been mentioned in this, because they are looking for a power forward type of player and a defenseman. Now, hear me out. The Toronto Maple Leafs, as we all know, just signed William Nylander to quite a big deal. Now, I have my laptop in front of me. The Toronto Maple Leafs still have a little bit of money left that they can deal with, and I know that sounds crazy, but they actually do. They have about $5 million, almost $6 million in cap space. Clearly, you could fit Simmonds in there, and if they find a low-budget defenseman or whatever, they could still do that. Here's my argument in the fact that the Leafs may not look to that blue line this deadline. Next year, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be a much different team, and I don't think people really understand that. They're going to have to make some moves. They're going to have to make a lot of big signings. If you acquire a guy like Simmonds, it's strictly for a rental. You would get him for the playoffs, and that's it. A defenseman, the Leafs may be looking long-term. They may want more time to look for a trade or for a guy that they might be able to sign or whatever. They might want to take more time on that and just be like, all right, let's go all-out offense for this season, for this playoffs. We need a guy that's going to piss some people off in the playoffs, much like Brad Marchand does for the Bruins, and he does it very effectively. He might, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but guess what? He puts up a lot of points and he pisses people off. So he's doing his job. Wayne Simmonds could be that guy for any team, and including the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I think Simmonds would fit in perfectly with a guy like Nazem Kadri, or if you really feel like you want to protect Matthews, you put him with Matthews and whoever else. But again, we're not just going to sit here and say that this is a done deal. The Flyers would be looking for quite a bit back. And I found it interesting on, what was it, Hockey Central at noon. They were talking about what the value might be going back and what the Flyers might be looking for. Well, if the Flyers are looking for not a rebuild, but a retooling period from this season to next year, and maybe within 2 years they're a much better team, because they're going to have a nice goaltender, Hart, coming up too. So the Flyers may be looking at these next couple years as a retooling type of a retooling phase where they have a good team that they can make even better. They can spend a bit of money, but they'd like to acquire some assets for players they might think they're losing. You're probably going to have to include a first-round pick in a deal like this. And Leaf fans might be going, oh, man, no. I'm with you here. It is tough. And here's the con to trading for Wayne Simmonds or anybody at this point. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be spending quite a lot of money this offseason on guys that are already in their system internally, which means they're not going to have a lot of money to, have bottom six forwards to mess around with, to pay a little bit extra to bring onto the team. Their blue line's something they're going to have to put low-budget defensemen in there. They've already done that with signing Callie Rosen to, $725,000 or $750,000. I think it was $725,000. But the thing is, you're going to have to give up young assets or, a roster piece and a pick, a combination of that for Wayne Simmonds. I don't think his price would be as high as people think, but you're still going to have to give up a little bit. And the Leafs, honestly, can't afford to give up too much at this point. So that's why I'm kind of in the middle. You want to go for it as a fan. You want to see them make a move because Simmonds is really good as a rental. But you also are kind of going, okay, well, what pieces are we giving up here? Are you going to have to give up a Grundstrom, a Johnsson, a Kapanen, which I don't think would make sense? I would not do that. Even a Johnsson would be a little bit tough to get rid of. But again, you're trading for Simmonds. You're not just going to give them, again, the joke, Bracco in a second, and Nielsen, who's already been traded. It's not like that, guys. You have to give up value to get value. You bring money in, you have to give money back. And it has to be, fair value. So the Leafs can't afford to give up too much. Any team really can't afford to give up too much when it comes to prospects and young pieces, but the Leafs especially really can't be too crazy here. You get rid of a guy like Grundstrom, who could very well be in a bottom six role next year for the Leafs, who would be insanely cheap. That's tough. You give up a guy like Johnsson, who you're hoping signs to a pretty cheap deal. That would be tough. Although, if they do feel like that money wouldn't work in Toronto and Johnsson's looking for too much, he might have to be a piece that goes the other way. But it is tough. You don't want to get rid of young assets to bring in somebody who would be good for a little bit, but it would be strictly a rental. So again, Don't come at me here and start freaking out saying I'm saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying this would be an interesting experiment. I think he would work well on the Leafs. They can afford him. It would be a one-year rental, but you have to be, you know, a little bit cautious of how much you're spending, especially if you're Kyle Dubas, because that first-round pick, you might need it. That second-round pick, you might need it. But to get a guy like Wayne Simmonds, if you really feel like it, you kind of sometimes have to go all in. And that's the trouble. You think it's hard for us to sit here and talk about this and figure out what a fair trade would be? Imagine being a GM of probably the most popular team in the NHL. It's not easy. And being the Philadelphia Flyers, getting rid of Wayne Simmonds, a guy who's probably a fan favorite, I would think so. You know, he's a rough and tough type of player who can put up points. That's not easy to get rid of a guy like that. And this may not happen by tomorrow, or by the time I'm recording this, Simmonds may be already locking into a new deal, or at least discussing it, and this all goes away. But for now, we can at least speculate and think, will this work? Comment down below. What do you guys think? This is just a fun video. Again, if you're in there talking, you know, a lot of crap and swearing at people, I can't have comments like that down there. I have to delete stuff like that. But if you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. I was trying to get to 5K by the end of this year. Obviously, it would be at the end of this month. But you know what? It's a little tough, but 4K, that'd be awesome if we could do that. Make sure to click that notification bell. I was looking at statistics, and those numbers are really low. If you want to see when I post a video, you got to click that notification bell. It's right down below. It's very easy to see, and I think you can click it on the channel as well. So please do that. I'd really appreciate it. There's some links down below if you want to check that out. Some SeatGeek stuff. You could save $20 on your first purchase by using code APH when you check out. That'd be really cool if you use that. But again, leave your suggestions down below for a trade or a video, whatever. That's what the comments are for. Let's be friendly down there as well. So I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.